Daniel's hands won't stop shaking. He's pushing a gurney down a hospital hallway that smells like bleach and broken promises, and clutched in his fist is a deposit form with his son's name printed at the top. Caleb Michael Torres, age 12. The wheels squeak too loud, like they're announcing something nobody wants to hear. Have you ever begged for help and realized the world was negotiating while your child was running out of time? Daniel reaches the double doors marked morgue access and stops cold. Standing there, blocking the light from the window behind her, is Victoria Chun, owner of the hospital network, the woman whose face has been on billboards promising care without compromise. She's not wearing her TV smile. She looks guilty, not surprised, guilty, like she's been standing there waiting for him, knowing exactly what those doors mean. Daniel's breath catches. His brain tries to make sense of it. Why is she here? How did she even know? Victoria's lips part like she's about to apologize, but Daniel doesn't want her words. He wants his son back. He wants the hour they stole. He wants to know why the desk kept saying policy, while Caleb's heart was giving up. If you were Daniel, would you burn her empire down with the truth, or take her help to find who blocked the treatment? Comment, forgive, or expose right now, and subscribe, because the file she opens next links the diner attack to the hospital delay. Now go back with him to the cheap dinner night that started all of this. Daniel's voice cracks so bad it doesn't even sound like him anymore. Please, just one more hour. I'll get the money. I swear I'll get it. The woman behind the desk doesn't look mean. That's the worst part. She looks tired. She looks sorry. But sorry doesn't buy time, and Daniel's watch is already sitting on the counter next to his wedding ring and the last piece of pride he thought he'd never trade. Sir, I understand, but we need the deposit before we can proceed with the next phase of treatment. It's policy. Policy. That word again. Daniel wants to grab it out of the air and rip it apart with his teeth. 2 weeks ago, Caleb was laughing so hard over fries at the diner that soda came out his nose. They were celebrating nothing, just being together, just being okay on a tight budget. Daniel remembers wiping the table with a napkin and thinking, this is enough. This is everything. Now the clock on the wall above the desk is the loudest thing in the room. Every second is a thief. I have $300 in my account. I can get more by morning. Please. The desk woman glances at her computer screen, then at the hallway behind Daniel where nurses move like shadows. Her jaw tightens. Something shifts in her eyes. Not pity. Something else. Fear, maybe. A nurse steps closer. She's young, professional, wearing scrubs covered in cartoon stars like she works in pediatrics. Her hand touches Daniel's forearm, light and steady, trying to hold him together. Her wedding ring catches the fluorescent light. I'm sorry, she whispers, and the words feel so small against the weight of what's happening. Daniel feels how lonely grief is, even inside a crowd. Even surrounded by people trained to save lives, he's drowning alone. Then he hears it. A change. Caleb's breathing shifts, becomes slower, shallower, wrong. Daniel's head snaps toward the ICU corridor. The staff are moving, but they're moving like someone told them to slow down, like they've been given permission to wait. Daniel's stomach drops. Somebody made a choice. Somebody decided his son could wait. The desk woman won't meet his eyes anymore. The nurse pulls her hand back and walks away fast, like she's scared to be seen helping him. Daniel realizes the enemy isn't the disease. It's the system, and the system just started counting down. The plastic chair scrapes loud across the diner floor. Daniel moves before his fear can argue. 3 men. Knives. Brielle's table is 6 feet away, and Caleb is staring with wide eyes, frozen mid-sip of his soda. The men aren't yelling. That's what makes it worse. They're calm, practiced. One of them is already moving toward Brielle like he knows exactly how long he has before someone calls for help. Daniel doesn't think. He just steps between them. Back up. His voice is steadier than his heartbeat. The diner smells like hot grease and coffee that's been sitting too long. A menu edge curls up on the table where Caleb's soda is sweating through the paper placemat. Somebody's fork clinks against a plate. Normal sounds. Wrong moment. The lead man smiles. Not a friendly smile. A testing smile. You want to be a hero tonight? I want you to leave. Caleb's voice cracks behind him. Dad. Stay there, buddy. The man swings. Daniel sees it coming, but there's nowhere to go. The hit catches him across the jaw and his vision sparks white for half a second. He tastes copper, but he stays upright. He keeps his body between Brielle and the knives. Brielle screams. Security finally rushes in from the back. The three men scatter fast, too coordinated. They check the exits like they've done this before, like this was practice. When it's over, Daniel's legs almost give out. Brielle's shaking hands press to his chest for 1 second, maybe 2. She's checking if he's real, if he's okay. Her palms are warm through his shirt. Gratitude and shock, mixed up with something that feels too close, too long. She pulls back fast, breathing hard. You didn't have to do that. Yeah, I did. Caleb is still staring. Daniel reaches for his son's shoulder and squeezes, trying to ground them both. Later, when the police take statements and the manager offers free meals nobody wants to eat, Daniel watches the security footage on a cop's tablet. Frame by frame, he sees it. The men weren't just attacking. They were performing. One of them glanced at the camera twice. Another checked his watch. The cop doesn't notice, but Daniel does. This wasn't random. This was a test. Daniel expects handcuffs. He expects questions that sound like accusations, the kind that turn self-defense into assault because of how you look or where you work or how much is in your bank account. Instead, the police confirm witnesses backed him. The diner footage is clear. The men had weapons. Daniel had courage. You're free to go, Mr. Torres. Good job. Good job. Like he won a prize. Like his hands aren't still shaking. But the relief lasts about 10 hours. When Daniel walks into the warehouse the next morning, his supervisor is waiting near the loading dock with his arms crossed and a smile that doesn't reach his eyes. Heard you played hero last night. I protected someone. You put the company at risk. We don't need employees making headlines. People start asking questions. Questions mean lawyers. Lawyers mean money. Daniel's stomach tightens. If he loses this job, Caleb loses stability. Loses the apartment. Loses the careful budget that keeps cereal on the table and the lights on. His supervisor knows this. Everybody knows this. I didn't start it. Doesn't matter. You were involved. That's bad optics. The supervisor says it loud enough for the other workers to hear. Loud enough to humiliate. Daniel feels the stares. Feels the weight of being made into an example. He walks out to the parking lot when his shift ends, chest tight, mind running through backup plans that don't exist. Brielle is leaning against his car. She's wearing jeans and a hoodie, hair pulled back, looking like she's been waiting a while. When she sees him, she straightens up. You okay? Yeah. Liar. She steps closer and pulls the hoodie off, then ties it around his waist. His work shirt tore during the fight and he didn't even notice until now. Her fingers graze his skin for half a second while she knots the sleeves. Both of them pretend it means nothing. Both of them know it doesn't feel like nothing. Thank you, Daniel says, and his voice comes out quieter than he meant. Don't thank me. You're the one who stepped up. She walks away before he can say anything else. Daniel watches her go, confused by the tightness in his chest that has nothing to do with fear this time. The next morning, Daniel gets summoned to the office. Not the warehouse floor. The office. The one with air conditioning and carpet and people in ties. His stomach drops. The room is packed with corporate faces. Expensive watches. Polished shoes. Nobody smiles when Daniel walks in. He feels like he's on trial even though nobody's saying it out loud. Victoria Chun sits at the head of the table. Daniel recognizes her from the company newsletter, owner of the restaurant chain, some hospitals, half the real estate in the region. She's the kind of rich that doesn't need to prove it. Mr. Torres. Sit down. He sits. The chair feels too nice. Everything in this room feels too nice. Victoria slides a tablet across the table. The diner footage plays on a loop. Daniel sees himself step in front of Brielle, sees the hit, sees the way he stayed standing. I've watched this 17 times, Victoria says. Her voice is calm, controlled. You protected one of our people. Brielle Morgan. Medical student, part-time server, full-time brilliant. You didn't know her. You didn't owe her anything. But you stepped in anyway. Daniel doesn't know what to say, so he says nothing. Most people don't do that anymore. They film it. They post it. They stay safe. Victoria leans forward. You didn't. One of the suits clears his throat. We wanted to thank you personally, Mr. Torres. Daniel doesn't trust rich kindness. Rich kindness always has terms and conditions buried in the fine print. I just did what anybody should have done. But most people don't. Victoria stands and walks around the table. She stops in front of Daniel, close enough that he can smell clean perfume. The kind that probably costs more than his rent. She reaches out and adjusts his visitor badge herself, fingers brushing his collar. Steady eye contact. The kind that makes a broke man feel studied, measured, considered. I want to offer you a position, Mr. Torres. Operations. Safety audits. Real salary. Benefits. Hours that let you pick your son up from school. Daniel's brain stalls. Why? Because I don't want to lose people like you to warehouse shifts that don't see what you're worth. Type he did right if you'd step in, or not my business if you'd stay seated. Daniel spots his old supervisor at the back of the room, half hidden behind two executives. The man is smiling. Not a proud smile. A knowing smile. Like he's already 10 steps ahead and Daniel just walked into something he doesn't understand yet. Daniel's chest tightens. I need to think about it. You have 24 hours, Victoria says. After that, the offer moves on. Daniel takes the job. Not because he trusts Victoria. Because Caleb deserves a father who can afford to say yes when the school asks for field trip money. The salary sounds unreal. Health insurance. Dental. A company car for site visits. Hours that let him pick Caleb up from school without begging his supervisor for permission. It's the kind of offer that doesn't happen to men like Daniel, men who've spent years being invisible, replaceable, one paycheck from disaster. You have until tomorrow morning, Victoria reminds him during the follow-up call. Her voice is calm, but there's pressure underneath. The offer moves on if he hesitates. Opportunity has a timer. Daniel signs the paperwork in a conference room that smells like leather and money. His old supervisor appears in the hallway as Daniel walks out, arms crossed, face tight. Congratulations. The word sounds like a curse. Thanks. You don't know who you're working for. The supervisor steps closer, voice dropping low. She doesn't do charity. Everything costs. You'll figure it out when the bill comes. Daniel's stomach twists, but he doesn't let it show. He walks past without answering. The first day in his new role feels like wearing someone else's life. Daniel gets a badge with his name printed in bold letters, an office with a window, a laptop that doesn't take 5 minutes to boot up. People greet him in hallways. People know his name. When his shift ends, Brielle is waiting outside the building. She spots him through the glass doors and smiles so wide it makes his chest ache. Daniel walks out and she crashes into him. Arms around his neck, holding on like she's proud, like she's relieved. The hug lasts longer than friends should hug. Her heartbeat thumps against his ribs. When she pulls back, they're both breathing harder than the moment deserves. You did it, she whispers. I don't know what I did. You said yes. That's enough. Her hands slide down his arms slowly, fingertips trailing, leaving heat behind. She catches herself and steps back fast, tucking hair behind her ear. Caleb's going to lose his mind when you tell him. Daniel grins. Already told him. He asked if we're rich now. What did you say? I said we're stable. That's better. Brielle laughs, and the sound settles something in Daniel's chest that's been tight for years. 2 weeks later, Daniel finds out Victoria quietly paid off Brielle's medical school tuition balance. The registrar mentions it during a routine call. Brielle didn't tell him. Victoria didn't announce it. It just happened like rain falling on the right garden. Daniel sits in his car outside Brielle's campus apartment that night, staring at his phone. Why does Victoria care so much? What does a billionaire want from a server and a warehouse worker? He texts Brielle. You didn't tell me. She replies fast. Didn't want you to feel like you owed her for me. Daniel's throat tightens. He thinks about the hug, the way her fingers linger, the way she looks at him like he's more than the job, more than the paycheck, more than the man who got lucky once. He texts back, "Do you trust her?" 3 dots appear, disappear, appear again. Finally, "I trust you." Daniel leans his head back against the seat and closes his eyes. He doesn't know if that's enough. Daniel's first audit trip takes him to a location 3 hours south. A restaurant attached to a conference center, big parking lot, steady traffic. His job is simple. Check safety protocols, review camera placement, make sure staff training is up to date. Everything looks fine, until it doesn't. One camera in the back hallway is pointed at the floor. Not broken, not offline, just turned. Like someone adjusted it on purpose and never fixed it. Daniel checks the maintenance log. No reports. No work orders. The angle has been wrong for 6 weeks. He pulls the footage anyway. Finds a gap. 3 hours missing on the night of a reported harassment complaint. The timestamp matches the incident report, but the video shows nothing. Just an empty hallway and a camera pointed at tile. Daniel's stomach drops. He writes it up. Submits the report to corporate compliance. Gets a call 2 hours later from a man who introduces himself as Senior Manager of Risk Assessment. His voice is smooth, polite, and sharp underneath. "Mr. Torres, we appreciate your thoroughness. However, this particular location has already been reviewed internally. The camera issue is a known equipment fault. No further action required. The log doesn't show a work order. Internal review doesn't always generate public logs. We handle sensitive matters carefully." The man pauses. "I'm sure you understand the need for discretion." Daniel understands threats wrapped in politeness. He's heard them his whole life. "Got it. Good. Keep up the great work." The call ends. Daniel sits in his hotel room, staring at the report on his laptop. Something is wrong. Something is organized. He opens the incident file again. The harassment complaint mentions 3 men. The description is vague, but one detail stands out. All 3 wore suits, moved like they worked together, and checked exits before approaching the victim. Daniel's blood runs cold. Same pattern. Same crew. That night, Daniel calls Brielle. It's late, almost midnight, but she picks up on the second ring. "Hey!" Her voice is soft, sleepy, warm. "Did I wake you?" "No. I was reading." "What's wrong?" "Nothing. Just wanted to hear your voice." She laughs quietly. "You're terrible at lying." Daniel smiles despite himself. "Yeah. What happened?" He tells her. Not everything, just enough. The camera. The missing footage. The man who told him to stop looking. Brielle is quiet for a long moment. Then, "You're becoming important." "What?" "People don't tell nobodies to stop looking. They just fire them." Daniel's chest tightens. She's right. He's not invisible anymore. That's not safety. That's a spotlight. "Be careful," she whispers. "I will. Promise me." "I promise." Her breathing softens, and Daniel hears himself smile. He hates how good it feels. How much he wants to keep her voice in his ear. Keep her close. Keep pretending the world isn't closing in. "Good night, Daniel." "Good night." The next morning, Daniel walks to his car and finds a note tucked under the windshield wiper. No envelope, just a small piece of paper folded once. He unfolds it. "Stop looking." 1 year later, Daniel's life looks nothing like it used to. The award ceremony happens in a hotel ballroom with chandeliers and tablecloths that cost more than his old rent. Cameras flash. People applaud. Daniel's name gets called like he's someone who matters. The scholarship fund is named after him, the Daniel Torres Safety and Courage Initiative, and Caleb stands on stage beside him, grinning so wide it hurts to look at. His son is 12 now, healthy, proud, wearing a suit Daniel bought without checking the price tag first. Privacy disappears. Local news runs the story. Social media picks it up. Daniel's face becomes a symbol. Proof that good people get rewarded, that courage pays off, that the system works. But Daniel can't shake the feeling he's being used. He scans the crowd during the speeches. Spots his old supervisor near the entrance. half hidden behind a decorative column. The man isn't clapping. He's watching, calculating. Then Daniel sees them. The three men in suits. Same build, same posture, standing near the bar, not drinking, not celebrating. Watching. Daniel's throat tightens. Why are they here? Brielle's hand touches his arm, pulling him back to the moment. She's wearing a simple black dress, hair down, no jewelry except small earrings. She looks like herself, not trying to fit in, just present, steady. You okay? She whispers. Yeah. She doesn't believe him. She fixes his tie even though it's already straight. Her fingertips linger at his collarbone, warm against his skin, and for one beat Daniel forgets the room, forgets the cameras, forgets the men watching from the edges. You're doing great, she says softly. I'm pretending. Same thing. He almost laughs. The ceremony ends. People shake Daniel's hand. Victoria gives a closing speech about heroes and hope and second chances. Daniel smiles through it all, but his mind is elsewhere. Comment. Is this a blessing or bait? That night, Daniel and Caleb drive home in the new car. Caleb talks nonstop about the food, the lights, the way people kept saying his dad was brave. Daniel listens, trying to hold onto the joy in his son's voice. They're almost home when Caleb goes quiet. Too quiet. Daniel glances over. You okay, buddy? Caleb's hand is pressed to his chest. His face has gone pale. Dad, it hurts. Daniel's world stops. What hurts? My chest. It's... Caleb's breath catches. It's really tight. Daniel pulls over fast, hands shaking. Where? Show me where. Caleb presses both hands to his sternum, eyes wide, scared. I can't breathe right. Daniel grabs his phone, dials 911, and tries to keep his voice steady while his brain screams. Not again. Please, not again. The ambulance takes them to the nearest emergency room. Daniel rides in the back, holding Caleb's hand, watching monitors beep and flash. The paramedic is calm, professional, but Daniel sees the frown. The small crease between his eyes that means this is serious. The ER admits Caleb fast. Too fast. That's when Daniel knows it's bad. Doctors use words like cardiac event and irregular rhythm and transfer for specialist care. Caleb is stable, but stable isn't safe. Stable is temporary. They move Caleb to a pediatric cardiology unit 2 hours north. Daniel follows in his car, hands tight on the wheel, mind racing. By the time they arrive, a new team is waiting. More tests, more monitors, more people in scrubs speaking a language Daniel doesn't understand. Then the transfers start. One hospital says they don't have the right equipment. Another says their specialist is booked. A third says Caleb's case requires a facility with advanced intervention capabilities. Every time, Daniel packs up, follows the ambulance, unpacks in a new waiting room that smells like fear and bleach. The South turns into a blur of sirens and paperwork. Doctors keep saying critical while doors keep closing. Daniel starts noticing the pattern. Caleb's file keeps getting flagged. Approvals that should take minutes vanish mid-process. One nurse whispers that the insurance clearance disappeared from the system and had to be resubmitted. Another mentions that a specialist consult was canceled without explanation. Daniel's chest tightens. Something is wrong. Something is deliberate. Brielle meets them at a waiting area in the 4th hospital. She's carrying a blanket, a thermos of coffee, and a look that says she's not leaving. How is he? Stable. For now. Brielle sits beside Daniel on the plastic chairs, so close their knees touch. She wraps the blanket around his shoulders even though he's not cold. Her thigh presses against his, warm and solid, and Daniel realizes he's leaning into her without permission, without thinking. You need to eat, she says softly. I'm fine. You're not. She's right. Daniel hasn't eaten since the ceremony. His hands are shaking. His brain is running on panic and coffee. Brielle opens the thermos and pours coffee into the lid, then hands it to him. Drink. He drinks. It's terrible coffee, but it's warm and she made it, and that's enough. Thank you. She doesn't answer, just leans her head on his shoulder, and they sit like that, silent, pressed together, holding on. 3 hours later, a financial coordinator calls Daniel into a side office. The woman is polite, apologetic, and firm. Mr. Torres, Caleb's treatment plan has been outlined by the specialists. However, we need to secure a deposit before we can proceed. Daniel's stomach drops. How much? She slides a paper across the desk. The number is so high it doesn't feel real. Feels like ransom. Daniel begs. He offers everything he has: savings, credit cards, the car, the watch Victoria gave him at the award ceremony. He calls his bank, calls his insurance, calls anyone who might say yes. Nobody says yes. The woman behind the desk repeats the same line over and over. It's policy. We need the deposit before we proceed. Policy. That word. Daniel wants to scream it back at her until it breaks. My son is critical. You said it yourself. Critical means he doesn't have time. I understand, Mr. Torres. I'm very sorry. Sorry doesn't save lives. Sorry is just a word people use when they've already decided no. Daniel steps away from the desk, pulls out his phone, and starts recording audio. His hands shake so bad he almost drops it. He knows this could cost him his job, his safety, everything. But if Caleb dies and nobody knows why, then it's all for nothing. A nurse approaches, not the one from before, someone new. She glances around like she's checking for cameras, then leans in close. Mr. Torres, I shouldn't be telling you this. Tell me anyway. Her voice drops to a whisper. Someone marked this case. The order came from above. Do not proceed until deposit is secured. But that's not normal. We don't delay critical pediatric cases like this. Someone wanted this flagged. Daniel's heart pounds so hard it hurts. Who? I don't know. It came through the system under an admin clearance code. I'm sorry. That's all I can tell you. She walks away fast, and Daniel is left standing in the hallway with his phone still recording and his world falling apart. He finds Brielle in a quiet corner near the vending machines. She takes one look at his face and pulls him into the alcove, out of sight. Daniel, look at me. He can't. He's shaking too hard. She cups his face with both hands, forcing him to meet her eyes. Breathe. I can't. Yes, you can. With me. In. He breathes in. Out. He breathes out. Her thumbs brush his cheeks. Her eyes are fierce, steady, holding him together when he's coming apart. For 1 second, his grief turns into something else. A hunger for comfort he doesn't know how to accept. A need to be held, to be seen, to not be alone in this. We're going to figure this out, she whispers. How? I don't know. But we will. Then the alarms go off. Sharp, loud, cutting through everything. Daniel runs. Brielle runs beside him. They reach Caleb's room and freeze. Nurses and doctors flood in, moving fast, shouting orders. The monitor flatlines. One long, sharp tone that sounds like the end of the world. Daniel tries to push through, but someone holds him back. Sir, you need to stay outside. That's my son. We're doing everything we can. But they're not. They're moving too slow, too late, because someone decided a deposit mattered more than a child's heartbeat. Daniel collapses against the wall, and Brielle catches him before he hits the floor. Daniel wheels the gurney down the hallway alone. The hospital gave him a clipboard, a pen, and directions to the morgue. Like those 3 things are enough. Like paperwork makes any of this okay. His hands won't stop shaking. Caleb's body is under a white sheet. The deposit form is still clutched in Daniel's fist. Crumpled, worthless, proof that money mattered more than his son's heartbeat. He reaches the double doors and stops cold. Victoria Chin is standing there. No cameras, no speech, no corporate smile. She's just there, blocking the light from the window behind her, looking like she's been waiting. Daniel's brain stalls. Why is she here? How does she even know? Victoria's face isn't surprised. It's guilty, like she already knows what happened, like she knew before Daniel did. Mr. Torres, get out of my way. His voice comes out broken, jagged, barely holding together. Victoria doesn't move. I own this hospital network. Daniel's world tilts. The walls feel too close. The air feels too thin. You? What? I own it. All of it. The hospitals, the policies, the people who made the decisions tonight. Her voice cracks. And I've been hunting a traitor inside my own system because this shouldn't have happened. Daniel's rage explodes. Then why did it? Because someone overrode every safeguard I put in place. Someone blocked your son's treatment on purpose. And I've been trying to find out who for the last 6 hours. Daniel wants to scream, wants to shove past her, wants to believe she's lying because if she's telling the truth, then the system didn't just fail, it was sabotaged. And Caleb died in the middle of someone's game. You expect me to believe you? No. Victoria's eyes are red, exhausted. But I expect you to want answers. Because I do. Daniel's knees almost give out. The gurney is the only thing holding him upright. Victoria steps forward fast and grabs his hand. Not gentle, not soft. Firm. Intimate. Controlling. Her grip is the only thing keeping him from collapsing onto the tile. Daniel hates that his body responds to touch while his heart is shattered. Hates that her hand feels like an anchor when it should feel like a trap. Let me help you find who did this. Daniel pulls his hand away like her touch is fire. Why would I trust you? Because I can prove it. Victoria pulls a tablet from her bag and opens a file. The block on Caleb's treatment traces back to an internal access key. It's tied to your old supervisor. The same man who's been following you since the diner incident. Daniel's stomach drops. What? The diner attack wasn't random. It was a test. And you were the target. Comment forgive or expose, because his next choice decides who survives the truth. Victoria's voice softens. If you want justice, I'll give you everything I have. But you need to decide fast because whoever did this knows you're asking questions. And they're not done yet. Daniel stares at the tablet, at the file, at the woman who owns the empire that killed his son. He doesn't know what to believe anymore. But he knows one thing. Somebody is going to pay. Victoria opens the secure file and turns the tablet toward Daniel. His hands shake as he takes it. The screen shows a timestamp, 11:47 p.m., the exact moment the desk woman told Daniel they needed the deposit before proceeding. Right when Caleb's breathing started to change. Below the timestamp is a line of text. Treatment authorization override. Admin code 4472B. Do not proceed until deposit secured. Daniel's throat tightens. What is this? An internal override. Someone with admin clearance manually blocked Caleb's treatment plan and flagged it as deposit required. Victoria swipes to the next screen. This is the access key tied to that code. Daniel reads the name. His vision blurs. Supervisor access. Marcus Holt. Marcus. His old supervisor. The man who humiliated him at the warehouse. The man who smiled at the award ceremony like he knew something Daniel didn't. He followed me, Daniel whispers. He followed me across companies. Yes. Victoria's voice is tight, controlled. When I hired you, I flagged his employment file because of the harassment complaints. But he had friends inside the network. People who protected him. People who gave him access he shouldn't have. Daniel scrolls through the file. More timestamps. More overrides. Caleb's name appears 4 times, for separate delays, for separate moments where someone decided to make Daniel wait, make him beg, make him break. Why? Daniel's voice cracks. Why would he do this? Because you embarrassed him. You walked away from his control and built something better. And men like Marcus don't forgive that. Daniel wants to scream, wants to throw the tablet, wants to go back in time and never step into that diner, never take the promotion, never believe things could get better. Victoria's hand stays on his wrist while he reads. Her fingers are warm, steady, and Daniel feels heat rising in the wrong moment. Comfort where there should only be rage. He pulls away fast, like her touch is an accusation. There's more. Victoria swipes to another screen. The same access key appeared in the security logs near the diner the night of the attack. Marcus was there, watching, making sure the test worked. Daniel's brain struggles to catch up. Test. They needed to see if you'd intervene. If you'd step up, play hero, get attention. Because once you were visible, once people knew your name, they could use you. Use me for what? Victoria's jaw tightens. I don't know yet, but this file shows the vendor that paid the attackers. And that vendor has ties to a hospital contractor. Two worlds that should never touch, Daniel. Someone connected them on purpose. Daniel stares at the screen, at the proof, at the evidence that his son didn't die because of bad luck or bad timing. Caleb died because someone wanted leverage. Someone wanted control. Someone decided Daniel's grief was a tool. Why was I chosen? Daniel's voice is barely a whisper. Victoria's eyes meet his. That's what we need to find out. Because if Marcus went this far, he's not working alone. And whoever's behind him knows you're still looking. Daniel's phone buzzes at 2:17 a.m. He's been sitting in his car outside the hospital for hours, staring at nothing, trying to breathe. Brielle's name flashes on the screen. He answers fast. Hey, Daniel. Her voice is tight, scared. Someone asked about you. His chest tightens. Where? At my campus lab. I was finishing a rotation tonight and this guy showed up. Said he was from HR, doing a routine security check on employees with family connections to company personnel. What did he ask? Your schedule. Where you've been traveling. If I've noticed anything unusual about your behavior. Brielle's breath catches. He knew my name, Daniel. He knew I was at the diner that night. He knew about the scholarship ceremony. Daniel's blood runs cold. What did you tell him? Nothing. I said I barely know you. But he didn't believe me. He smiled like he already had the answers and just wanted to see if I'd lie. Daniel punches the steering wheel. I'm coming to get you. No. I'm fine. Campus security is everywhere. But Daniel, she pauses. This isn't random, is it? Daniel closes his eyes. He wants to lie. Wants to protect her by keeping her in the dark. But the dark is where people get hurt. No, it's not random. Then tell me the truth. I can't. Yes, you can. Daniel's chest aches. Protection starts sounding like control. Like he's deciding what she gets to know, what she gets to handle, like she's property instead of a person. Brielle, don't shut me out. Not now. Silence stretches between them. Daniel hears her breathing. Hears the fear she's trying to hide. Meet me, he says. Not your place. Not mine. Somewhere public. Where? The parking lot behind the library. 30 minutes. Okay. The call ends. Daniel drives fast, checking his mirrors every few seconds. When he pulls into the lot, Brielle's car is already there. She's sitting in the driver's seat, windows fogged, arms wrapped around herself. He gets in on the passenger side. The space is small, cramped, warm. Their knees touch. Brielle's eyes are wide, scared, fierce. Tell me. So he does. The diner test. The override. Marcus. The file. Everything. Brielle listens without interrupting. When he's done, her fingers twist into his shirt, pulling him close. Her breath is shallow, fast. Don't shut me out again. I was trying to keep you safe. I don't want safe. I want truth. Her forehead presses against his. The kiss almost happens. Stops right before it becomes a decision neither is ready to own. They hold there, breathing each other's air, teetering on the edge of something that feels like falling. Comment, protect her, or tell her everything. Because secrecy is already costing people. Brielle pulls back first, eyes locked on his. I need to show you something. She reaches into her bag and pulls out a folded paper. I copied a hospital access log during my rotation last month. I wasn't supposed to, but something felt wrong, so I did. Daniel unfolds it, scans the entries. One name jumps out. Visitor sign-in, Michael Crane, 11:32 p.m. Michael Crane, not Marcus Holt. A false identity, but the signature matches. The handwriting is the same. Marcus signed in under a fake name 30 minutes before Caleb's treatment got blocked. Daniel's hands start shaking. He was there. He was in the building. Brielle nods. And now he knows we're looking. Victoria calls the next morning. Her voice is calm, measured, but Daniel hears the urgency underneath. We need to meet. Privately. Where? My office. Downtown tower. 30th floor. Come alone. Daniel doesn't trust her. Doesn't trust anyone. But he needs answers more than he needs safety. The building is all glass and steel, the kind that makes you feel small just walking through the lobby. Security waves him through like they were expecting him. The elevator ride feels too fast. Victoria's office is massive, floor-to-ceiling windows. A desk that costs more than Daniel's car. Shelves lined with awards and photos of her shaking hands with politicians and celebrities. She's standing by the window when he walks in. No assistant. No witnesses. Just her. Close the door. He does. Victoria turns to face him. I have a deal for you. Daniel's stomach tightens. I'm listening. Help me expose Marcus quietly. Internal investigation. Controlled takedown, no media circus. In exchange, I'll fund a legal attack on the hospital policies that killed Caleb. We'll change the system so no other family goes through what you did. Sounds good. Sounds like justice. But Daniel hears the bargain underneath. You want to keep your empire intact. I want to fix what's broken without burning everything down. Victoria steps closer. There's a difference between justice and revenge, Daniel. One saves people. The other just makes you feel better. Maybe I want both. You can't have both. Not if you want to win. Daniel's jaw tightens. Victoria steps into his space, voice dropping low. I can give you power. Real power. The kind that changes laws, not just headlines. But you have to trust me. Her perfume is subtle, expensive. Her eyes are steady, unblinking. The closeness feels like temptation with sharp edges, like if he leans in, he'll lose something he can't get back. Daniel hates how power sounds like comfort. Hates how much he wants to believe her. What's the catch? No catch. Just control. You let me handle Marcus my way, and I'll give you everything you need to make sure this never happens again. Daniel backs away before he crosses a line he can't uncross. I need time to think. You don't have time. Victoria's voice hardens. Marcus knows you have the access log. He knows Brielle has been asking questions. If you wait, he'll move first. Daniel's phone buzzes in his pocket. He pulls it out. Unknown number. One message. Your son died because you played hero. Daniel's vision blurs. His hands shake so hard he almost drops the phone. Victoria reads over his shoulder. Her face goes pale. Daniel. I'm done waiting. He walks out before she can stop him. Daniel drives to the next audit location on his schedule, a restaurant near the city center. He's supposed to check safety logs, review camera footage, make sure everything is up to code. But when he pulls into the parking lot, they're already there. The three men in suits. Same build. Same posture. Standing on the sidewalk like they own it, watching the entrance, waiting. Daniel's chest tightens. He grabs his phone, opens the camera, and starts recording. If they're going to follow him, he's going to make sure there's proof. He gets out of the car. Walks toward the restaurant entrance. The men don't move. Don't speak. Just watch. Daniel tries to walk past, but one of them steps into his path. Excuse me, Daniel says, voice steady. The man smiles. You've been busy. I don't know what you're talking about. Sure you do. Files. Access logs. Questions. The man leans in close. You should stop asking. Daniel's pulse hammers. He wants to shove past, wants to confront them, but they're in public. Any confrontation makes him look violent. Any fight makes him the problem. So he steps back, pulls out his phone. I'm recording this. The men laugh. One of them brushes past Daniel, close enough to whisper. Ask your supervisor who paid for the knives. Then they walk away, calm as anything, disappearing into the crowd. Daniel stands there, shaking, trying to breathe. His mind is racing. Who paid for the knives? Marcus. It always comes back to Marcus. Daniel. He spins around. Brielle is standing there, breathless like she ran. What are you doing here? I followed you. I knew you'd do something reckless. She steps close and slips her hand into his. fingers lacing tight. If they're watching, we need to look like this is normal. Like we're just together. The contact is strategic. Cover. But it stirs something Daniel can't afford. A hunger for closeness, for safety, for someone who stays when things get dangerous. They walk toward the restaurant entrance, hands locked, pretending. But Daniel feels the weight of eyes on them, feels the danger closing in. One of the men is still watching from across the street, smiling, like this is all part of the plan. Daniel squeezes Brielle's hand tighter. Whatever's coming, he's not facing it alone. Daniel traces the payment route backward. It takes him 3 days, a laptop that never closes, and coffee that tastes like regret. The security consulting vendor that paid the diner attackers is called Sentinel Risk Management. Clean name, professional website, but the payment history doesn't match the services listed. $30,000 for event security consultation 2 weeks before the diner incident. No invoice, no contract, just a wire transfer. Daniel digs deeper. Sentinel connects to a shell company registered in Delaware. No employees, no office, just a P.O. box and a lawyer's signature. The shell company connects to a hospital contractor called MedLogic Solutions, a firm that handles billing software and administrative access for Victoria's network. 2 worlds that should never touch. Daniel's hands shake as he screenshots everything. This isn't just corruption. This is architecture. Someone built a system where hospitals and violence share the same money. Brielle sits beside him in a cheap motel room 2 towns over. They paid cash, parked around back, turned off location services. The files are spread across the bed, printed documents, highlighted sections, sticky notes with timestamps. She straddles the chair beside him to see the laptop screen better. Her thigh presses against his, warm and solid. The investigation turns into a fight against their own bodies. Every accidental touch, every shared breath, every moment where focus slips into something else. There. Brielle points at the screen. That vendor name appears again. Daniel clicks the link. A procurement schedule for corporate events. His chest tightens. Upcoming contract. Award ceremony, Northeast Region Security and Logistics Coordination. The date matches. The scholarship dinner. The night Caleb collapsed. They were there, Daniel whispers. They were watching the whole time. Brielle's hand covers his on the mouse. This proves it was planned. All of it. Daniel scrolls through the document. Finds another entry buried 3 pages down. Previous contract. Witness behavior assessment. Diner location 14B. 3-person team. Witness behavior assessment. Corporate language for, let's see if Daniel will play hero. Daniel's vision blurs. Rage and grief twist together so tight he can't tell them apart anymore. Brielle's fingers slide up his arm, trying to ground him. Daniel, breathe. I can't. Yes, you can. Her touch moves to his shoulders, kneading the tension, pulling him back from the edge. Daniel leans into it without meaning to. Her thigh is still pressed to his. The room is too small. The air is too warm. She leans forward to highlight another section, and her hair brushes his neck. Daniel closes his eyes. The intimacy is wrong-timed, misplaced, but it's the only thing keeping him human right now. We need to send this to someone, Brielle says softly. A journalist, a lawyer, someone outside Victoria's reach. She'll know. She already knows. We're past hiding. Daniel turns to look at her. Their faces are too close. Her eyes are fierce, scared, alive. He wants to kiss her, wants to pull her into his lap and forget the files and the evidence and the weight of everything breaking around them. But he doesn't, because survival comes first. Because Caleb's name is on those documents, and nothing else matters until justice is served. One more search, Daniel says. Then we send it. He types in the vendor name again, adds upcoming contracts to the query. 1 result loads. Next assignment. Award ceremony, Northeast. But this ceremony hasn't happened yet. Scheduled for next month. Daniel's stomach drops. They're planning another test. Another setup. Another Daniel. Daniel can't sleep. He lies on the motel bed staring at the ceiling, And every time he closes his eyes, he sees Marcus. The flashback hits hard. Marcus standing over him at the warehouse, voice loud enough for everyone to hear. You think you're special? You're replaceable. I could fire you right now and have someone better in your spot by lunch. Daniel remembers the laughter. The way the other workers looked away, grateful it wasn't them. The way Marcus smiled, not angry, not cruel. Satisfied. Now Daniel understands. Every humiliation was training. Every insult was a test. Marcus wanted him poor, wanted him desperate, wanted him obedient, predictable, easy to frame. Because when Victoria offered Daniel the promotion, Marcus already knew he'd take it. Men like Daniel always take the offer. They don't have the luxury of saying no. Brielle's voice pulls him back. You're doing it again. What? Disappearing into your head. She's sitting cross-legged on the other bed, laptop open, but her eyes are on him. Talk to me. I'm fine. You're not. Daniel sits up, runs his hands through his hair. He knew. Marcus knew exactly what buttons to push. He spent years making sure I felt small, making sure I'd be grateful for scraps. So when the promotion came, I'd be too shocked to ask questions. Brielle sets the laptop aside and walks over. She sits on the edge of his bed, close enough to touch. He didn't break you, though, didn't he? No. You're still here, still fighting. Daniel's jaw tightens. I don't know who I am without anger anymore. Brielle reaches for his hands and guides them to her waist. The contact is grounding, warm, real. She holds them there, eyes locked on his. You're Daniel. You're a father who loved his son. You're a man who stepped in front of knives for a stranger. You're more than what Marcus tried to make you. Daniel almost gives in, almost pulls her closer, lets the warmth replace the rage, lets himself feel something other than grief. But he stops, pulls his hands back. I can't. Can't what? Can't let go of the anger. It's the only thing keeping me moving. Brielle's face softens. Then don't let go. Use it. But don't let it use you. Daniel's phone buzzes on the nightstand. Victoria's name flashes on the screen. He answers. What? Internal surveillance caught Marcus meeting someone. Victoria's voice is tight. A hospital board member. The same one on the visitor list the night Caleb died. Daniel's pulse hammers. Where? Underground parking garage. 2 hours ago. I'm sending you the footage now. The video loads. Grainy security feed. Timestamp in the corner. Marcus leans against a car, talking to a man in a suit. The man hands him an envelope. Marcus opens it, counts something inside, then nods. The man says something Daniel can't hear. Marcus smiles, that same satisfied smile, and walks away. Daniel's hands shake. Who is he? Dr. Raymond Kemp. Hospital board member. Restaurant chain oversight committee. Clean record. Generous donations. Untouchable. Not anymore. Victoria's voice drops. Daniel, if you go after him, you're going after the whole system. Everyone he's protected. Everyone who's protected him. Are you ready for that? Daniel looks at Brielle. At the evidence spread across the beds. At the life he used to have now burned to ash. Yes. Victoria shows up at the motel unannounced. Daniel hears the knock and checks the peephole. Sees her standing alone, no security, no cameras. He opens the door. How did you find us? I own half the surveillance systems in this state. Did you really think you could hide? She steps inside without waiting for permission. Her eyes scan the room. The files, the laptop. Brielle standing near the window like she's ready to run. You two have been busy. We found the vendor payments, Daniel says. The shell company, the hospital contractor. All of it. Victoria's jaw tightens. Then you know more than I do. I doubt that. Daniel. Victoria's voice sharpens. I need you to hand over everything you found. Now, I can protect you, but only if you let me control the narrative. Daniel steps between her and the evidence. You want control, not justice. I want both. But control comes first, because without it, Marcus and everyone protecting him will bury you before you get close to a courtroom. Brielle moves closer. We're not giving you the files. Victoria's eyes shift to her. You should. Because if this goes public the wrong way, you'll both be labeled conspiracy theorists, and Marcus will walk. Then we'll make sure it goes public the right way, Daniel says. Victoria steps closer, eyes locked on his. You want revenge. I get it. But revenge without strategy is just noise. Let me shape it. Let me turn your pain into something that actually changes the system. The closeness feels like temptation with sharp edges. Victoria's voice is calm, controlled, powerful. She's offering to carry the weight, to fight the battle, to let Daniel rest while she handles the dirty work. And part of him wants it. Part of him is so tired of fighting that letting a powerful woman take over sounds like relief. But then he remembers Caleb's face. Remembers the desk woman saying policy, while his son's heart gave out. Remembers Marcus smiling like he'd already won. Daniel backs away before he crosses a line he can't uncross. No. Victoria's expression hardens. You're making a mistake. Maybe. But it's mine to make. You don't know what you're up against. Then I'll learn. Victoria stares at him for a long moment, then turns and walks to the door. She pauses, hand on the handle. You have 24 hours before I move forward without you. After that, whatever happens is on you. She leaves. The door clicks shut. Brielle exhales. That was terrifying. Yeah. Daniel's phone buzzes. An alert from his work email. His stomach drops. Account access suspended, security review in progress. He refreshes. Another alert. Employee file update, contact information released for public records request. No. Daniel opens his personal email. Finds a notification from his apartment complex. Someone posted his address on a local forum with the headline, Child neglect? Father questions hospital after son's death. The comments are already filling up. Strangers calling him a liar, saying he's looking for a payout, saying Caleb probably died because Daniel couldn't afford proper care. Brielle reads over his shoulder. Oh my God. Daniel's hands shake. His work account is locked. His address is exposed. His son's death is being turned into gossip. Victoria moved fast. Or Marcus did. Or both. The war just went public, and Daniel's already losing. Brielle doesn't show up for class. Daniel checks his phone every 5 minutes, waiting for a text, a call. Anything. Nothing. He calls her. The phone rings once. Goes dead. Daniel's chest tightens. He calls again. Straight to voicemail. He tries texting. Where are you? No response. 10 minutes pass. 20. Daniel's panic builds with every second. He calls the campus security office. They transfer him to a voicemail. He calls the police. The dispatcher is polite, bored. Has she been missing for more than 48 hours? No, but then we can't file a report yet. She's an adult. Could be anywhere. She's not anywhere. Someone took her. Do you have proof? Daniel doesn't. Just instinct. Just the way his stomach is twisting. The way time feels like it's running out again. I'll call back. He hangs up. Sits in his car outside the motel, hands shaking. Time becomes the enemy again. The same way it was at the hospital. The same way it's always been for people like him. People the system doesn't rush to save. Daniel replays Brielle's last voice note. She sent it this morning before class. Her voice is soft, teasing, intimate. Don't work too hard today. You're not allowed to burn out before we finish this. He treated her like later, like there would always be time to say the things that matter. And later is not promised. His phone buzzes. A text from Brielle's number. Bring the file. Alone. Daniel's blood runs cold. He tries calling. No answer. Another text. 1 hour. Address below. Come alone or she pays. The address is a warehouse on the industrial side of town. Abandoned. Isolated. The kind of place where nobody hears screaming. Daniel's hands shake so hard he can barely type. He wants to call the police. Wants to call Victoria. Wants to call anyone. But the text is clear. Alone. Or Brielle pays. He starts the car. Grabs the laptop with all the files. His brain is screaming at him to think, to plan, to be smart. But his heart is louder. And his heart says Brielle doesn't get to pay for his courage. He drives. The warehouse smells like oil and old cardboard. Every sound is too loud. Daniel's footsteps, his breathing, the creak of rusted metal somewhere in the dark. I'm here. His voice echoes. A light clicks on. Brielle is sitting in a chair in the middle of the space, hands zip-tied behind her, mouth not gagged. She looks furious, not scared. That's how Daniel knows she's still okay. The three men step out of the shadows. Same suits, same cold smiles. You brought the file? One of them asks. Daniel holds up the laptop. Let her go first. That's not how this works. Then we don't have a deal. The man laughs. You think you're in a position to negotiate? I think if you hurt her, I'll make sure every file I have goes to 10 different journalists at once. So yeah, I'm negotiating. The men exchange looks. One of them nods. Another steps forward and cuts Brielle's zip ties. She stands, rubbing her wrists, and walks toward Daniel. When she gets close, she whispers, "Don't trade me for your truth." The intimacy of her breath on his skin hits harder than fear. She's telling him to fight, to not give up the evidence just because they scared him. Daniel's jaw tightens. He hands her the car keys. Get out of here. Not without you. Brielle. Not without you. One of the men clears his throat. The laptop. Now. Daniel holds it tighter. Who's paying you? Does it matter? Yeah, it does. The man smiles. You were never the hero, Daniel. You were the distraction. A voice cuts through the space. Familiar. Cold. That's enough. Marcus steps out of the shadows. No longer pretending. No longer hiding. He's wearing a suit now, looking like he belongs in boardrooms instead of warehouses. Hello, Daniel. Daniel's rage explodes. You killed my son. No, I used your son. There's a difference. Marcus walks closer, hands in his pockets, calm as anything. You were never supposed to figure it out. You were supposed to stay grateful. Stay quiet. Take the promotion, the scholarship fund, the hero story, and shut up. Why me? Marcus smiles. Because you were perfect. Poor. Desperate. Honorable enough to step in at the diner. Broken enough to be controlled after. We needed someone the public would believe. Someone who'd make Victoria look good while we cleaned up the system from the inside. Daniel's hands shake. Caleb wasn't part of the system. No, but he was leverage. And leverage is the only language that matters. Brielle steps forward. You're going to prison. Marcus laughs. Am I? With what proof? The files Daniel's holding? The ones that conveniently trace back to vendors I've never met, payments I've never authorized, shell companies I've never heard of. He leans in close. I'm insulated, Brielle. That's how power works. Daniel feels the weight of it. The system isn't broken. It's built this way. Built to protect men like Marcus while people like Caleb die waiting for mercy. But then Daniel remembers something. The recording. The nurse who whispered the truth. The access logs Brielle copied. The surveillance footage Victoria sent. He has more than files. He has voices. He has proof that can't be explained away. Daniel looks at Brielle. She nods once. Silent permission. He drops the laptop. The screen cracks. That's not the only copy. Marcus's smile fades. Marcus doesn't flinch when Daniel says there are more copies. He just smiles wider like he expected it. Of course there are. You're predictable, Daniel. That's why we chose you. Brielle steps closer to Daniel. Chose him for what? Marcus turns his attention to her. The diner incident was a test. We needed to see if Daniel would intervene. If he'd play hero. If he'd do the right thing even when it cost him something. Daniel's chest tightens. Why? Because we needed a man the public would believe. Marcus starts pacing, hands still in his pockets, like he's giving a presentation. Victoria wanted to rebrand her company, make it look compassionate, community-focused. And what's more compelling than a poor single father who risks his life to save a stranger? Daniel's stomach turns. You staged it. We created an opportunity. You chose to step in. That part was real. Marcus stops pacing and looks Daniel in the eye. And once you did, once your face was on camera and your story went viral, we had exactly what we needed. A symbol. Someone Victoria could lift up, reward publicly, and use to prove her empire cares about ordinary people. Then why kill Caleb? Brielle's voice shakes with rage. Marcus's smile fades. That wasn't the plan. The plan was to keep you grateful, Daniel. Keep you quiet. Keep you working for us while we cleaned house internally. He pauses. But you kept asking questions. Kept looking where you shouldn't. So we needed leverage. We needed you scared, desperate, and too broken to fight back. Daniel's hands ball into fists. So you blocked his treatment. We delayed it. There's a difference. The intention was to create pressure. Not. Marcus stops himself. It went further than anticipated. He died. Daniel's voice cracks. My son died because you needed me silent. He died because you played hero in the first place. If you'd stayed in your lane, kept your head down at the diner, none of this would have happened. Caleb would still be alive. The words hit like a punch. Daniel's vision blurs. His brain screams that it's not true, but grief doesn't care about logic. Grief grabs onto blame and holds tight. Brielle grabs Daniel's arm. Don't listen to him. This isn't your fault. But Daniel can barely hear her. The warehouse is spinning. The weight of everything, the diner, the promotion, the scholarship, the hospital, crashes down at once. Then Marcus says the worst part. Caleb's case wasn't the first delay I managed. There were others. Families who got too loud, asked too many questions, threatened lawsuits. We flagged their files, delayed approvals, made them wait until they were too exhausted to fight. It's a business method, Daniel. You're not special. You're just the first one who figured it out. Daniel lunges. Brielle barely catches him in time, wrapping both arms around his chest, holding him back. Don't, she whispers. Don't give him what he wants. Marcus laughs. She's smarter than you. The three men step forward, ready to intervene. Daniel's breathing is ragged, his pulse hammering. He wants to tear Marcus apart with his bare hands. But Brielle's grip tightens. Look at me, she whispers. Daniel, look at me. He does. Her eyes are fierce, alive, burning with the same rage he feels. We get him free, Brielle says. Not like this. Daniel's phone buzzes. He pulls it out with shaking hands. Victoria's name flashes on the screen. He answers, puts it on speaker. Daniel. Victoria's voice is tight. Get out of there. Now. I'm sending police to your location. Marcus's smile vanishes. And if you want the supervisor to pay, Victoria continues, meet me after. No phones. No recording. Because the hospital board is involved. And if we don't move carefully, everyone walks. The line goes dead. Marcus backs toward the exit. This isn't over. Yes, it is, Daniel says. The sirens start in the distance. Getting closer. The three men scatter fast, disappearing into the dark. Marcus hesitates, then runs. Daniel and Brielle stand alone in the warehouse, holding each other, breathing hard. Comment burn it down or play it smart, because his next move decides whether the supervisor goes to prison or becomes untouchable. Victoria meets Daniel in a quiet room off a service corridor in the hospital. Same building where Caleb died. Same halls that smell like bleach and broken promises. Why here? Daniel asks. Because this is where it started. And this is where we end it. Victoria slides a paper across the table. Visitor log from the night Caleb died. Look at line 17. Daniel scans the list. His blood runs cold. Dr. Raymond Kemp, hospital board, 11:15 p.m. He was here, Daniel whispers. 15 minutes before the treatment override went into effect. Victoria points to another name on the list. And look who signed in right after him. Michael Crane, consultant, 11:32 p.m. Marcus, using his fake identity, following the board member like a shadow. Kemp sits on the hospital board, Victoria says. But he also sits on the restaurant chain's oversight committee. He's the link, the one who connects both worlds. Daniel's hands shake. He ordered the delay. He approved it. Marcus executed it. Together, they turned your son's case into a weapon. Brielle leans forward. Why would a board member do that? Control. Kemp has been consolidating power for years, pushing out board members who question him, installing people who owe him favors, using hospital policies as leverage against anyone who threatens his position. Victoria's jaw tightens. I didn't see it until you started digging. He's been operating inside my system, turning it into his. Daniel stares at the list, at the proof, at the names of men who decided Caleb's life was negotiable. We take this public, Daniel says. Today. If you do, they erase Brielle tomorrow. Victoria's voice is flat, certain. Kemp has connections. Law enforcement, media, judges. He'll bury her under false charges, destroy her reputation, make sure she never practices medicine. And he'll do it fast, before anyone can stop him. Brielle's face goes pale. Let him try. Brielle. I'm not the one who needs protecting, Daniel. Those families Marcus mentioned, the ones who got delayed, the ones who lost people, they need protecting. If we stay quiet to keep me safe, we're just as bad as them. Victoria leans close to point at another name on the list. Daniel catches her warmth, the controlled calm, the way she smells like clean perfume and steady power. He hates that his body reads it as safety when she's part of the system that failed him. There's another way, Victoria says. We build a case. Quietly. Use internal investigators, federal regulators, people Kemp can't touch. Takes longer, but it's airtight. No one walks. How long? Daniel asks. 6 months. Maybe a year. A year. Daniel's voice rises. How many more families get delayed while we're building a case? How many more kids die waiting? Victoria's eyes harden. If you go public today, Marcus and Kemp disappear into legal protections we can't break. They hire expensive lawyers, tie everything up in court, and the system protects them because that's what the system does for men with power. Is that what you want? Daniel's chest tightens. He wants justice. He wants it fast. He wants Marcus and Kemp in handcuffs today, not a year from now. But he also knows Victoria's right. Going public without strategy is just noise. And noise doesn't convict anyone. What do you need from me? Daniel asks. Keep investigating. Keep recording. Keep building proof. But do it quietly. Let me handle the board, the lawyers, the politics. You focus on the evidence. Daniel looks at Brielle. She nods once. Reluctant permission. One condition, Daniel says. No more families get delayed. If I hear about one more case that smells like Marcus or Kemp, I go public immediately. Deal? Victoria extends her hand. Deal. They shake. The agreement feels fragile, temporary, like trust built on sand. But it's the only play they have. Daniel tries to move Brielle to a safe place. A friend's house 2 states over, somewhere Marcus and Kemp can't reach. He's got the address pulled up, bags half-packed, when Brielle walks into the motel room and sees what he's doing. Absolutely not. Brielle, I'm not going into hiding. They threatened you. They'll come after you. So let them. Her voice is sharp, angry. I'm not a problem you can store somewhere until this is over. Daniel drops the bag. I'm trying to keep you safe. No. You're trying to control what I do, where I go, who I talk to. That's not protection, Daniel. That's something else. Her words hit hard. Daniel knows she's right. Protection is starting to sound like control, like he gets to decide what risks she takes, what danger she faces, like she's his to manage instead of her own person. I can't lose you too. Brielle steps closer. Then don't push me away. I'm not. You are. Every time you try to keep me safe by keeping me in the dark, you push me further out. Her eyes are fierce, wet, burning. Did your job bring danger to my door? Tell me the truth. Daniel closes his eyes. Yes. Say it all. The diner wasn't random. The promotion wasn't luck. Everything that's happened since that night has been part of a plan I didn't know I was in. And yeah, Being close to me put you in their sights. I'm sorry. Brielle's face softens. Not forgiveness, something deeper. Understanding, maybe, or acceptance of the truth, even when it hurts. She steps even closer. Her hands rise to his chest, fingers curling into his shirt. Promise you won't leave me in the dark again. Brielle. Promise. I promise. She kisses him first. Sharp, angry, desperate. Her mouth crashes into his like she's claiming something, demanding something, refusing to let him shut her out anymore. Daniel's hands move to her waist, pulling her closer, and the kiss turns into something fierce and raw. They pull apart fast, both breathing hard. Brielle's forehead presses against his. Her breath is shallow, ragged. I need to show you something. She pulls out her phone and opens a photo. I copied a hospital access log during my rotation. I wasn't supposed to keep it, but I did. Daniel looks at the screen, scans the entries. One timestamp jumps out. System access. Admin override. 11:47 p.m. User. M. Crane. The exact moment the deposit demand appeared. The exact moment Caleb's treatment got blocked. Marcus was logged into the system when it happened, Brielle says. He wasn't just there physically. He was in the system, making it happen in real time. Daniel's hands shake. This is proof. Yeah, and I have more. She swipes to the next photo. Another log. Another timestamp. Another override tied to Marcus's fake identity. How many? Daniel whispers. 12 cases over 18 months. All flagged. All delayed. Some survived. Some didn't. Daniel's vision blurs. 12 families. 12 chances for someone to stop this. 12 times the system looked the other way. We send this to the feds, Daniel says. Today. What about Victoria's plan? She wants quiet. I want results. Daniel grabs his laptop. We send it anonymously. No names. Just the logs, the overrides, the pattern. Let them investigate. Brielle watches him work. You know this burns every bridge with Victoria, right? Good. I don't trust her anyway. Daniel. She approved the deposit first policy. She built the system Marcus used. Maybe she didn't pull the trigger, but she loaded the gun. Daniel hits send. The files upload. The evidence scatters into inboxes across 3 federal agencies. It's done. Brielle exhales slowly. No going back now. No, Daniel agrees. No going back. Victoria walks Daniel into a closed-door meeting he didn't know was happening. The boardroom is on the top floor. Glass walls, leather chairs, a table so polished Daniel can see his reflection in it. Executives and board figures fill the room. They're all wearing suits that cost more than Daniel's car. They speak in low voices, like the decision is already made and he's just here to sign the paperwork. Dr. Raymond Kemp sits at the head of the table, smiling, calm, like he's never done anything wrong in his life. Mr. Torres, glad you could join us. Daniel doesn't sit. What is this? A resolution, Kemp says. We've reviewed your concerns about procedural delays in your son's case. We take these matters seriously, and we want to make things right. One of the executives slides a document across the table. A settlement offer. $5 million. Full benefits for life. A permanent position within the safety division. And a scholarship fund in your son's name that will help hundreds of families. Daniel picks up the document, scans it. The numbers are real. The offer is real. But so is the line at the bottom. Non-disclosure agreement. All parties agree to confidentiality regarding case details, procedural reviews, and internal investigations. You want me to sign away my right to talk about what happened? We want to resolve this amicably, Kemp says. Litigation helps no one. It costs time, money, and energy that could be spent improving the system. This way you get justice. Families get help. And we move forward together. Daniel's jaw tightens. This isn't justice. This is a bribe. It's a settlement. There's a difference. Brielle is sitting beside Daniel. Under the table, her fingers squeeze his knee once. Hard. Silent permission to fight. Comment, sign, or refuse, because this is where most people get bought. If the system did nothing wrong, Daniel says slowly, "Why are you paying me to stay quiet?" Kemp's smile doesn't falter. "We're paying you because your son deserved better. And because we want to ensure no other family experiences what you did. Then change the policy. Make deposits optional for critical cases. Put safeguards in place so one person can't override treatment approvals. We're exploring those options." Exploring isn't changing. Kemp leans back in his chair. "Mr. Torres, I understand you're grieving. But emotion doesn't build better systems. Collaboration does. Sign the agreement. Work with us. Help us fix this from the inside." Daniel stares at the document. $5 million. A job. A scholarship fund. Everything he's ever needed. Handed to him on a silver platter. All he has to do is stay quiet. The door opens. Marcus walks in. Not in handcuffs. Not escorted by police. He's wearing a suit, carrying a tablet, looking like he belongs here. "Apologies for the delay," Marcus says. "Had to finish a security review." Daniel's blood boils. What is he doing here? "Mr. Holt is our senior security consultant," Kemp says smoothly. "He's been instrumental in identifying procedural gaps and recommending improvements." Marcus sits down across from Daniel. Smiles. "Good to see you, Daniel." Daniel stands so fast his chair tips backward. "He killed my son." "That's a serious accusation," Kemp says. "Do you have proof?" "Yes." "Then I'm sure the authorities will handle it. In the meantime, let's focus on moving forward." Daniel realizes what's happening. They're not offering a settlement. They're offering a test. Sign and they know he can be bought. Refuse and they know he's a threat who needs to be handled differently. Either way, they win. Daniel picks up the document, looks Kemp in the eye, then he tears it in half. "I'm not signing." Kemp's smile finally fades. "That's unfortunate." "Yeah, for you." Daniel walks out. Brielle follows. The door closes behind them, and Daniel hears the room erupt into low, urgent voices. He just declared war. Marcus catches up to Daniel in the hallway. No guards. No backup. Just him, smiling like they're old friends. "That was a mistake. Get out of my way. You don't understand what you just did." Marcus steps closer. "That settlement was your exit. Your one chance to walk away whole. Now you're a target." "I've been a target since the diner." Marcus laughs. "The diner was a stress test. Witnesses, cameras, response time. We needed data. We needed to see how corporate interventions played in public spaces. You were the control group." Brielle steps between them. "You mean you used him like a lab rat?" "I mean we tested a scenario. Funded through corporate channels. Approved by risk management. Completely legal." Marcus's eyes shift back to Daniel. "And you performed beautifully. Exactly the kind of hero we needed. Brave. Broke. Easy to reward. Easy to control." Daniel's hands ball into fists. "I was never easy to control." "No. That's where we miscalculated." Marcus's smile fades. "We thought single fathers were easy to pressure. Thought you'd trade anything for your kid. Thought grief would make you manageable." Brielle's chin lifts. The courage in her, the way she stands between Daniel and danger without flinching, makes Daniel want to pull her close and push her away at the same time. "You were wrong," Brielle says. "Clearly." Marcus checks his watch. "The board is deciding your future right now. Whether to handle you quietly or publicly. My vote is quiet. Cleaner that way." "Your vote doesn't matter," Daniel says. "You're going to prison." "Am I?" Marcus leans in close. "With what proof? The files you sent to the feds? The ones that trace back to vendors I've never met, payments I've never authorized? I'm insulated, Daniel. That's how men like me survive. We build walls between ourselves and the consequences." Daniel's chest tightens. Marcus is right. The evidence is strong, but it's not direct. Shell companies, fake names, access codes that could have been stolen or spoofed. A good lawyer could argue reasonable doubt all day. "Caleb's case wasn't the first delay I managed," Marcus says quietly. There were others. 8, maybe 9 cases over 2 years. Families who got loud, threatened lawsuits, made the board nervous. We flagged their files, delayed approvals, waited until they were too broken to fight. Brielle's voice shakes. You're admitting it. I'm explaining it. There's a difference. What I did was business. Protecting the company from liability, managing risk, ensuring operational continuity. Juries don't convict people for doing their jobs. Daniel pulls out his phone. Hits record. Say that again. Marcus notices the phone. Smiles. Recording without consent. Illegal in this state. But go ahead. Add more evidence that you're willing to break the law to get what you want. He walks away. Calm. Unhurried. Like he's already won. Daniel stands there, shaking, while the hallway empties around him. Brielle takes his hand. He's scared. That's why he's talking. Scared people make mistakes. He's not scared. He's protected. So were you. Until you decided you weren't. Daniel looks at her. At the way she's standing, rooted, unshakable, refusing to let the system win. I need you to do something, Daniel says. Anything. Stay alive. No matter what happens next. Stay alive. Brielle's eyes fill with tears. You too. They hold each other in the empty hallway, knowing the war just escalated, knowing the next move decides everything. Daniel gets the list 2 days later. An unmarked envelope slipped under his motel room door while he's sleeping. No return address. No note. Just a spreadsheet printed on plain paper. 12 names. 12 families. All with the same pattern. Patient admitted. Treatment approved. File flagged. Deposit demand. Delay. Outcome. Loss. Daniel reads each line. Jennifer Parks, age 7. Asthma attack turned critical. Flagged at 9:43 p.m. Died at 11:17 p.m. Reason listed. Complications during transfer approval process. Marcus Lyle, age 62. Heart attack. Flagged at 2:14 a.m. Died at 4:08 a.m. Reason. Awaiting specialist clearance and deposit confirmation. The names keep going. Different ages. Different conditions. Same result. Paperwork. Deposit. Delay. Loss. Daniel realizes this isn't one cruel decision. This is a business method. A system designed to weed out families who can't pay fast, can't fight hard, can't afford to be patient. Going public could save future kids, could force the system to change. But it'll also paint a target on his back so Big he'll never walk freely again. Brielle sits beside him on the bed, reading over his shoulder. Her hand covers her mouth. Oh my God. They're all ordinary people, Daniel whispers. Single parents, fixed incomes, families living paycheck to paycheck. Just like me. We have to tell someone. I know. Not Victoria. Not the board. The media. The feds. Everyone. Daniel nods. His phone is already open. Contacts pulled up. Ready to send everything. Then it buzzes. Another message. Unknown number. If you talk, your son's scholarship fund vanishes, and your name becomes dirt. Daniel's stomach drops. He opens his email. Finds a draft article already written. Ready to publish. The headline makes his blood run cold. Grieving father fabricates hospital conspiracy for payout. Former employer cites history of workplace aggression. They're ready. They've got the narrative locked and loaded. If Daniel goes public, they'll destroy him before anyone believes a word. They're going to smear you, Brielle says quietly. Let them. Daniel. I don't care what they say about me. I care about those 12 families. I care about the next kid who gets flagged because his parents can't afford to be heard. Daniel's voice cracks. Caleb's name is on that scholarship fund. If they take it away, his death meant nothing. But if I stay silent, it also meant nothing. Either way, I lose him. Brielle's arms wrap around him from behind. She doesn't say anything, just holds him while the weight of the choice crushes down. That night, they lie together in the dark. No words, just breathing. Brielle's hand slides under Daniel's shirt, palm flat against his chest, feeling his heartbeat. The intimacy is less about desire and more about staying alive inside grief. Proof that they're still here, still fighting, still human. Daniel's phone lights up on the nightstand. Another message. 12 families are watching. What will you tell them? Daniel stares at the screen, at the names, at the evidence that could change everything or destroy him completely. He types back, the truth. Then he forwards the entire list to 3 journalists, 2 federal investigators, and 1 civil rights attorney. Hit send before he can change his mind. The files scatter into the digital void. No taking them back now. Brielle's grip tightens on his chest. What did you just do? What I should have done from the start. His phone explodes with responses. Confirmation emails. Automated replies. One journalist texts back immediately. Need to verify sources. Can you talk tonight? Daniel replies, yes. Another message arrives. This one from Victoria. You just made the biggest mistake of your life. Daniel turns his phone off, pulls Brielle closer, closes his eyes and tries to remember what Caleb's laugh sounded like before the fear, before the hospitals, before everything turned into a fight for survival. He can't remember. That's the worst part. Grief took the good memories first, but maybe exposing the truth brings them back. Maybe justice is how you honor the dead, not by staying quiet, but by making sure no one else has to beg the way he did. Daniel falls asleep holding Brielle, knowing tomorrow everything changes. Victoria shows up at dawn. She doesn't knock, just uses a key card that opens every door in the chain. Daniel wakes to find her standing at the foot of the bed, arms crossed, face cold. Get dressed. We need to talk. Brielle sits up fast, pulling the blanket around her. You can't just. I own this building. I can do whatever I want. Victoria's eyes shift to Daniel. 5 minutes. Parking lot. Don't make me come back. She leaves. The door clicks shut. Daniel pulls on jeans and a shirt, hands shaking. Brielle grabs his arm. Don't go alone. I have to. Then I'm coming with you. Brielle. I'm coming. They walk to the parking lot together. Victoria is leaning against a black SUV, tablet in hand. She doesn't wait for pleasantries. You sent the files to journalists. Yeah. Do you have any idea what you just did? I exposed the truth. You exposed yourself. Victoria swipes through the tablet and turns it toward him. This is Marcus's financial trail. Vendor payments. Shell company transactions. Fraud tied directly to the diner attackers. It's everything you need to put him away for 20 years. Daniel stares at the screen. The evidence is clean, clear, undeniable. Why are you showing me this? Because I want you to use it quietly. Take it to the feds. Let them build a case. Let the system work. The system doesn't work for people like me. Victoria's jaw tightens. It will if we control the narrative. But you just handed that control to journalists who care more about clicks than justice. They'll turn this into a spectacle. Marcus will lawyer up. The board will stall. And you'll be left standing in the middle of a media circus with no protection. Brielle steps forward. Or the public pressure forces them to act. Public pressure is noise. Evidence is power. Victoria's voice drops. Let me handle Marcus quietly. I'll give you everything, his fraud, his access logs, his connections to Kemp. We take him down without the noise, and you get real justice. Not headlines. Convictions. Daniel hears the offer underneath. She wants to protect her empire. Keep the damage contained. Punish Marcus without admitting the system she built made it possible. You approved the deposit-first policy, Daniel says. Victoria freezes. You built the system Marcus used. You made it so families like mine had to beg, had to wait, had to prove we deserved care. Daniel's voice shakes. So don't stand here and tell me you want justice. You want control. You want to fix this quietly so no one asks how it happened in the first place. Victoria's face goes pale. She's silent for a long time. Then she nods. You're right. Daniel blinks. What? You're right. I approved the policy. 5 years ago, when the board said we needed cost controls and liability protections. I thought it would apply to elective procedures, cosmetic cases, things that could wait. Her voice cracks. I never thought it would touch kids like Caleb. But it did. Yes, it did. Victoria looks him in the eye. And I've spent the last 2 weeks trying to undo the damage without admitting I caused it. That's not justice. That's cowardice. She hands Daniel the tablet. Take it. Use it however you want. I'm done controlling the narrative. Daniel takes the device, suspicious. Why now? Because you're right. The system I built killed your son. And if I don't admit that publicly, I'm just as bad as Marcus. Victoria steps back toward her SUV. The journalists you contacted will call you today. Tell them everything. Show them the files. I'll confirm it all on record. Why would you do that? Because I want to sleep again. Victoria opens the car door, then pauses. And because Caleb deserved better. So do you. She drives away. Daniel stands in the parking lot holding the tablet, not sure if he just won or lost. Brielle squeezes his hand. Do you trust her? No. But I don't think it matters anymore. The tablet buzzes. An email from Victoria. Subject line, hospital board meeting, today, 2 p.m., you're invited. Daniel opens it. Reads the single line inside. Bring the files. Let's burn it all down together. Daniel stands in the exact corridor where Victoria first appeared. Same white walls. Same fluorescent lights. Same double doors marked morgue access. The place where his life split in two. He's holding his phone, camera open, recording. My name is Daniel Torres. My son, Caleb Michael Torres, died in this hospital because someone decided a deposit mattered more than his heartbeat. This isn't revenge. This is evidence. His voice is steady, stronger than he feels. I'm going to show you names, timestamps, and patterns. 12 families, 12 delays, 12 people who died waiting for a system to care. Daniel holds up the printed list, shows it to the camera, reads each name slowly, clearly. This is what happens when hospitals treat patients like transactions. When profit decides who gets to live. He pauses, breathes. Marcus Holt, my former supervisor, used his access to flag critical cases. He blocked treatment approvals. He turned grief into leverage. And he did it because men like him believe poor people are easy to control. Daniel's jaw tightens. We're not. Brielle steps into frame. She doesn't say anything. Just stands beside him, hand on his shoulder, silent witness. Victoria Chen, owner of this hospital network, approved the policy that made this possible. She's admitted it. On record. Today we're going to the board meeting. We're going to demand change. Real change. Not settlements. Not silence. Transparency. Accountability. Justice. Daniel's voice cracks. He steadies himself. Do it for the ones who never got to beg twice. Brielle whispers off camera. Daniel nods. If you've ever been told to wait while someone you love was dying, this is for you. If you've ever been denied care because you couldn't pay fast enough, this is for you. If you've ever felt invisible inside a system built to ignore you, the double doors burst open. Security. 2 guards moving fast. Sir, you can't record here. Daniel keeps the camera rolling. Why not? Hospital policy. Turn it off. Whose policy? Marcus Holt's. Daniel backs away, still recording. Or Dr. Kemp's? One guard reaches for the phone. Brielle steps between them. He's not breaking any laws. This is private property. It's a public hospital, funded by taxpayers. He has a right to be here. The guards hesitate. One of them speaks into his radio. We need a supervisor. Morgue corridor. Now. Daniel keeps recording. Keeps backing toward the exit. Brielle stays close, blocking the guards from getting too close. Someone tipped Marcus off, Daniel says quietly. Probably Victoria, Brielle replies. No, she wants this public now. Then who? They reach the elevator. The doors open. Daniel and Brielle step inside fast. One guard tries to follow, but Brielle hits the close button. The doors shut. They're alone. Daniel stops recording. Saves the file. uploads it to cloud storage, sends copies to every contact he has. It's out there, he says. They can't stop it now. Brielle kisses the corner of his mouth. Soft this time. Not desperate. Just present. Do it for the ones who never got to beg twice. She pulls back, and Daniel feels the loss immediately, but also the strength, like she just gave him the last piece of courage he needs. The elevator opens on the ground floor. They step out. Hospital staff are staring. Some are whispering. A few are holding their phones, watching a video that's already spreading faster than Daniel expected. His video, already uploaded, already viral. Someone shared it while he was still recording. Daniel's phone buzzes nonstop. Notifications flood in. Comments, shares, messages from strangers saying they've been waiting years for someone to speak up. Security is waiting near the exit. More guards this time. And behind them, standing in the lobby like he owns it, is Marcus. Smiling. Daniel gets the call 30 minutes later. A journalist from a major network. She's heard the whispers about the hospital network, seen the video, and wants to give Daniel airtime. Live interview. Tonight, 6 p.m. National broadcast. You tell your story, we verify the facts, and the country hears what happened. Daniel doesn't hesitate. I'll be there. One condition. Bring proof. Documents. Access logs. Anything that backs up your claims. We can't air accusations without evidence. I have everything. Good. See you at 5 for prep. Daniel and Brielle drive to the station. His hands won't stop shaking. This is it. The moment that decides whether the system changes or whether he becomes another headline people scroll past. They arrive early. A producer meets them in the lobby, leads them to a dressing room. Brielle sits beside Daniel while a makeup artist tries to cover the exhaustion on his face. You don't have to do this, Brielle says quietly. Yes, I do. They're going to come after you. After us. I know. The door opens. A man in a suit walks in, corporate lawyer by the look of him. He's holding a folder thick with papers. Mr. Torres, I'm here on behalf of Chun Industries and the hospital network. We're prepared to offer a settlement. Get out. Mr. Torres, if you proceed with this broadcast, you'll face legal action for defamation, breach of confidentiality agreements you signed as an employee, and I didn't sign anything that stops me from telling the truth. Your employment contract includes a non-disparagement clause. Get out. The lawyer doesn't move. This interview will destroy your credibility. We have statements from former colleagues, supervisors, people ready to testify that you've been unreliable, aggressive, and Brielle stands. He said get out. So get out. The lawyer leaves. The door slams. Minutes before airtime, more lawyers flood the station. Calls pour in. Threats of injunctions. Demands to pull the segment. The producer comes into the dressing room, looking stressed. They're trying to kill the interview. Legal is on the phone with our team now. Daniel's stomach drops. Can they stop it? Not if we air it before the injunction gets filed. The producer checks her watch. We go live in 3 minutes. If you're going to back out, now's the time. Daniel looks at Brielle. She straightens his collar, just like she did at the award ceremony. The callback hits hard. How much has changed since that night? How much has been lost? How much has been learned? You've got this, she whispers. They share one steadying kiss. Quick, grounding. It ends before it turns into comfort they can't afford. Because comfort makes you soft. And Daniel needs to stay sharp. He walks onto the set. The lights are bright. The anchor is professional, calm, ready. Daniel sits down. They clip a microphone to his shirt. 30 seconds. Someone calls. Daniel's phone buzzes. He glances at the screen. A text from an unknown number. Don't. He turns the phone off. The anchor looks at him. Ready? Yeah. 10 seconds. Daniel takes a breath. Thinks about Caleb. About the 12 names. About every family that's been told to wait while someone they love runs out of time. 5, 4, 3. The red light clicks on. If you've ever been ignored by a system that only respects money, Type "I see you" in the comments. The camera is rolling. The country is watching. Daniel doesn't waste time. My 12-year-old son died because a hospital blocked his treatment until I could pay a deposit I didn't have. His name was Caleb Torres. And he's not the only one. The anchor leans forward. That's a serious accusation, Mr. Torres. It's not an accusation. It's documented fact. Daniel holds up the access log, shows it to the camera. This is a time-stamped override from the night my son died. Someone with administrative access flagged his file and stopped treatment. Not because of medical reasons. Because of money. Who ordered that override? Marcus Holt, my former supervisor. He used a fake identity to sign into the hospital the night Caleb died. And he used an internal access key tied to his employment to block the approval. The anchor's face goes serious. Do you have proof? Yes. Daniel hands over the printed logs. Hospital visitor records. Access timestamps. Vendor payments linking Marcus to the men who attacked me at a diner 18 months ago. All of it connects. The anchor scans the documents. Her producer is in her ear, probably fact-checking in real time. She looks back at Daniel. These are explosive claims. What do you want? I want the policy changed. I want deposit requirements removed for critical pediatric cases. I want safeguards so one person can't override treatment approvals. And I want Marcus Holt and Dr. Raymond Kemp held accountable. Dr. Kemp, hospital board member. He's the link between the corporate structure and the delays. He approved the system Marcus used. The anchor glances off camera. Someone is signaling her. She nods. We've just been informed that Victoria Chun, owner of the hospital network, is here at the station. She's asked to join this interview. Daniel's chest tightens. He didn't know she was coming. Victoria walks onto the set. No makeup. No prepared statement. Just her, looking exhausted and determined. She sits down beside Daniel. Ms. Chun, you've heard Mr. Torres's accusations. What's your response? They're true. Victoria's voice is steady. I approved the deposit first policy 5 years ago. I believed it was a necessary cost control measure. I was wrong. That policy has delayed care. It's caused harm. And in Caleb Torres's case, it contributed to his death. The anchor's eyes widen. You're admitting liability on live television? I'm admitting failure. There's a difference. Victoria pulls out her own tablet. But the policy is only part of the problem. The bigger issue is this man. She swipes to an email chain. Internal communications showing that Marcus Holt ordered treatment delays for families he deemed high risk for litigation. He weaponized my policy to silence people who questioned the system. She hands the tablet to the anchor. That's not corporate strategy. That's cruelty. And I didn't see it until Mr. Torres forced me to look. Daniel stares at her. This wasn't the plan. She's burning her entire empire on live TV. Why are you doing this? The anchor asks. Because staying silent makes me complicit. And I'm done being complicit. Victoria looks at Daniel. I can't bring Caleb back. But I can make sure no other parent has to beg the way his father did. The anchor turns back to Daniel. What do you want people to know? Daniel looks directly into the camera. This isn't about me. It's about the 12 families on that list. It's about every person who's been denied care because they couldn't pay fast enough. The system isn't broken. It's built this way. And until we demand better, nothing changes. The interview ends. The cameras cut to commercial. In the silence, Victoria grips Daniel's shoulder. You just changed the rules. Brielle locks eyes with him from offset. She nods once. Proud. Fierce. Claiming his courage as hers too. Then the commotion starts. Producers shouting. Someone says police are in the building. The anchor gets a message in her earpiece and her face goes pale. They're moving in. Marcus Holt is trying to leave through the service exit. Daniel stands fast. Where? Loading dock. East side. Daniel runs. Brielle follows. They push through hallways, past confused staff, toward the back of the building where sirens are already echoing. The final confrontation won't happen in court first. It's happening now. Daniel corners Marcus near the loading dock. Sirens echo off concrete walls. Red and blue lights flash through the gaps in the metal door. Marcus is sweating. Suit jacket gone. Tie loose. The mask finally dropped. You ruined everything. No, Daniel says. You did that yourself. Marcus backs against the wall. Two police officers appear at the end of the corridor, moving slow, hands near their belts. They're letting this play out, giving Daniel his moment. You think this changes anything? Marcus's voice shakes. I'll lawyer up, delay the trial, tie it up in appeals for years. By the time it's over, you'll be bankrupt and forgotten. Maybe, but you'll still be guilty. Marcus laughs. It sounds broken. You want to know the truth? I didn't hate you because you were poor. I hated you because you had dignity. Even broke, even scared, you kept standing up. You kept fighting. And men like me can't stand that. Daniel steps closer. Why? Because it reminds us we're not special. We're just cruel. And cruelty only works if people like you give up. Marcus's face twists. But you didn't. You just kept coming. Kept asking questions. Kept believing the system would care. I don't believe that anymore. Good. Now you're learning. The officers move in. Marcus Holt, you're under arrest for fraud, conspiracy, and obstruction of medical care resulting in wrongful death. They cuff him. Read him his rights. Marcus doesn't resist. Just stares at Daniel the whole time, like he's trying to figure out where he went wrong. I hope it was worth it, Marcus says as they lead him away. Daniel doesn't answer, because he doesn't know yet if it was. The sirens fade. The loading dock goes quiet. Daniel stands alone in the space where everything almost ended differently, where violence almost replaced justice, where rage almost became the only language he knew. Brielle appears in the doorway. She doesn't run to him, just walks slow, steady, like she's giving him time to come back to himself. When she reaches him, Daniel collapses. Not from injury, from exhaustion, from grief. From the weight of carrying Caleb's name through every fight, every threat, every moment where staying quiet would have been easier. Brielle wraps both arms around him, holds him while he shakes, while the tears he's been holding back for months finally break through. Come back to me, she whispers. I'm trying. I know. They sit on the concrete floor together. No words, just breathing, just being. The embrace is intimate in a way that doesn't ask for anything but truth. No performance, no strategy, just two people who survived something that should have broken them. Daniel's phone buzzes. He ignores it. Brielle's phone buzzes. She ignores it too. Later, hours later, they'll find out that Marcus's arrest triggered a federal investigation, that Dr. Kemp resigned before charges could be filed, that Victoria announced a complete overhaul of hospital policies, starting with the removal of deposit requirements for all emergency and critical pediatric cases. Later, they'll learn that 8 of the 12 families on the list filed a class action lawsuit, that the story went viral, that Congress opened hearings, that the system, for once, was forced to answer. But right now, in this moment, Daniel just holds Brielle and tries to remember what it feels like to breathe without fear. Did we win? He asks. I don't know, but we didn't lose. That's enough. For now, that's enough. Daniel closes his eyes, sees Caleb's face. Not the hospital version, pale, struggling, fading. The diner version, laughing over fries, sweating soda onto the table, asking his dad to help someone because that's what good people do. I'm sorry I couldn't save you, Daniel whispers. But maybe he did. Not Caleb, but the kids who come after. The families who won't have to beg. The parents who won't have to watch their children die while a desk clerk repeats policy like it's gospel. Maybe that's what justice looks like. Not revenge. Not closure. Just making sure the next person doesn't have to fight as hard. Daniel opens his eyes. Looks at Brielle. What now? Now we rebuild. I don't know how. Neither do I. But we figure it out. Together. Daniel nods. Stands slowly. Helps Brielle to her feet. They walk out of the loading dock hand in hand. into a world that finally knows Caleb's name, into a future that's uncertain but no longer silent. Daniel didn't lose his son because he was poor. He lost him because someone believed poverty meant permission. Permission to delay. Permission to ignore. Permission to decide who deserves care and who deserves to wait. And that permission just got revoked.